This is the IC Pixels podcast with David and Anthony Cavens. We're going to talk about design in everyday situations. And welcome back. This is Anthony.
This is David, and welcome back to another episode of the IC Pixels podcast, brought to you by Alienmuffin this week.
Yeah, our network of one podcast.
Yep.
We're recording this today in the morning, so if I sound kind of tired, I'm going to try to get my energy up. Also, I just came from the gym, so I'm also tired from that, but trying to make sure I'm tank top ready. So.
That's good. I've tried to be more consistent with exercising and stuff like that, but I don't go to a gym. I think we talked about that on the episode before. I don't go to a gym just because I don't feel like paying for that. But it's kind of sometimes it can be difficult to exercise consistently. Even though I have like all the tools around that I need, it's still sometimes it's difficult just because stuff comes up.
Well, I mean, something like that. I mean, I found like it's easier to stay consistent if you have a partner and like working out and everything. Like if you're both doing it, even if you're not both doing it at the same time, you're both on the same path.
Mm-hmm.
That helps a lot, you know. I mean, you can always go on the internet and look at people working out. That's also motivation. But I know for me, part of the reason why I want to have a gym membership, I mean, I pay for it, but
That also motivates you to use it because like if I'm paying for something, I'm probably going to use it.
yeah, I mean, you can get memberships down here for as little as $10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, I go at the same time. I mean, I've kind of made it a routine of sorts. I don't go every morning, but like it's kind of, I go in there. It's like the same people there. Whenever I go in there, I mean, I don't actually talk to them, but it's the same people in there. And I don't know. I just like the feeling, especially in the morning when I work out. After, I don't know, it's a good way to start the day. I feel like you get it in. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta, especially when you start seeing results, that also motivates you. But I mean, I would say the number one thing is like do it with somebody else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're not going at the same time or working out at the same time, like both be on the same page of we're gonna, be working out, you
Yeah.
know, and that'll motivate everyone to,
Do it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Give
I
you
started because it's summer now, so it's warm outside, and I get home from work a little earlier. So I started for the past few weeks. I've been going out and playing basketball 2 times a week, and just shooting around. And what I would do is I'd go to the court. I know we've talked about basketball before, and
yeah.
you mentioned like trying to shoot as
I
many
haven't
threes
done
as you
that in a
can.
while,
So I would
honestly.
go to the court and just shoot around until I made 23 pointers. And the amount of time required to get that done for me.
6 hours later.
Yeah, at first it took maybe like an hour and a half or hour 20 minutes or something. But now it's down. Last time I went, it's down significantly, like maybe 45 minutes or less. Um, of course, I'm streaky sometimes, so sometimes I'll make like five, six in a row, and then it's like completely dry for like 10 minutes. But
Yeah.
I actually played with some people a few weeks ago, and I was jaying these fools up. Like I was pretty impressed because yeah, I have a
You don't
consistent
normally
brick,
think.
but not
You're not known for
no, I'm not known for
James,
jumper.
yeah.
But I just
No,
started shooting. So like you
yeah, I
said,
was playing
the
with some
results
like
are impressive.
yeah, I mean, I was playing with some like high school or something kids like a couple of weeks ago, and like I don't know, it was. I mean, I don't know, it was kind of like a. I don't know. It's like I see how I've changed, like just over the years because they're all talking trash and everything or whatever. I mean, a lot of people do that, but I don't know. I was just quietly getting my points. It's like I'll just be here. I'll just jump all over you and block you or whatever. I mean, yeah, I know I'm old, but I ain't that old.
Hmm.
you know, I mean, they were hitting shots and everything, but I don't know. I guess I get, you can, I don't know, you get a bit of wisdom over the years, and you make decisions based on energy output also. So you optimize the energy you're going to put into something, so that can work to your advantage. I mean, because I remember growing up seeing older people when we played with them, we're always like, we can run up and down the court like constantly, and then this one guy, he just always shoots that 1 3, and it was frustrating because he just kept on doing it. And now I get it. Like, why put out all that energy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to have the energy so you can do it if you need to. You can have bursts of energy, but you don't need to be running full speed up and down, And, if you can hit a nice three, then that's a shorter distance for you to run. You only got to run the 3 point line and 3 point line.
Yep.
You don't have to run the full court all the way down under and everything and like, trying to make layups. If you can hit the three, why would you make a layup? Or hit it just a nice jumper? Like why would you even go down there when you get all hacked up and you don't have to. So I don't know. It was interesting. But
Yeah.
I don't know. My team kept on winning. But hey.
Yeah, I've played with. So there's barely anybody out there on the courts near me. I need to find some mutual people to play with. Because actually, I played with people one time, and it just felt good to play with people because I'm used to, at least in my recent life, I mostly play by myself. Um,
Yeah.
because there's no one around or like just young
It's
kids.
nice to test the metal against,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like, am I really,
yeah. I won. We played like 21, and I killed them. But it was it was good to see like, oh yeah, I'm not just good by myself. I'm actually better than some of these people. So I don't know. We'll see. Um, so this episode was not all dedicated. Supposed to be all dedicated to basketball and exercising and stuff like that. We also wanted to talk a little bit about social media. So if you listen to one of our earlier episodes, I think we're almost to it being. Have we reached our 1 year anniversary? I don't think we have yet. We have to look.
I
Because I
don't
think we
know. I don't
started
even
in
remember
like
when we started.
September or something. Uh,
Really? Hold on. I can
I can
check.
check. We're going to fact check. No fake
Oh, you
news.
did check?
No fake news here.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Our first one was 9 months ago.
so yeah, we're nowhere near it. We have 3 more months to go. Wow. I thought we started in like
Yeah.
August, but oh well. Anyway, but I guess it was our second or third episode. It's called Twitter Fingers, where we talked about how we don't really use social media right or anything like that. So
Brand is weak.
yeah, the brand is definitely not brolic, as New York people would say. Um,
Yeah.
it's definitely weak on social media. The brand might be strong somewhere else. We haven't found where that is. Um,
In China.
yeah, someone else is using the same branding and everything. Um,
Yeah.
so I know in that episode we talked about like things we were going to do to kind of improve our social media numbers and all that other type of stuff. And so I just wanted to follow up on that and talk about kind of a little experiment I did over the past couple weeks and the impact and all that type of stuff. So um, I'm not as some would call a Twitter nigga. I don't be on Twitter a lot at all. Um, I would say I'm like a spectator on Twitter. Like even my personal Twitter, I don't tweet that much. I come on, I'll see a hashtag that I can contribute to. I'll put a little jokes here and there. I'll retweet some things, but other than that, I don't tweet every day. Um, and for our business account for Alienmuffin, I don't tweet. For a long time we didn't tweet at all, and then or it was just
Yeah.
like when it was convenient, or if I was logged into the app and didn't check and see what account I was signed in as, I might accidentally tweet from that account, but I really wasn't tweeting from it. But then after we had that social media episode, I talked to some people, uh, my wife being one of them, and she suggested using an application called Buffer that allows
Did you
you.
just say your wife is a Twitter nigga?
Nope.
Okay.
She's more like the shea butter Twitter.
Okay.
But yeah, so she recommended I use like an app to schedule my tweets so I don't have to be actually on Twitter for real. So I started scheduling tweets, and Buffer, I like the tool. It's useful. It makes it easy to schedule your tweets. It give you suggestions on when you should be tweeting. Like it's pretty well integrated. I like it. I used to use TweetDeck back in the day, TweetDeck was cool, Hootsuite was cool, but um, I don't know what happened to them. I just don't use them anymore. They might still
I think
exist.
they still exist. I'm sure Hootsuite still exists. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I get the emails from Buffer. I admit I've never actually opened the application, but
Yeah, it's nice. I like it because it's a web thing. Because I think TweetDeck or yeah, TweetDeck I had on my computer and it was a desktop thing. Um, I believe I don't know. But
yeah.
I think I don't know. Let me not speak on it because I don't remember specifically how that application worked. But like in terms of like from the app, could I see what was going on Twitter? I'm not sure that I could. I think I might have been able to, but I don't know. Either way, Buffer, I like the application, but as I was using it, I wasn't noticing much growth or impact in terms of followers or anything like that on Twitter. Facebook, I really don't try on Facebook, so we're not going to talk about that. Instagram, we'll talk about Instagram in a second. I'll let you talk about Instagram. But so I was watching. No, I read a book. Gary Vaynerchuk's book. It's called Jab Jab Right Hook, or it might be Jab Jab
Hmm.
Jab Right Hook, one of the two. But it talks about like strategies for different social media platforms and how you don't want your profile to just look like a bunch of advertisements. And that's kind of the way our Twitter was looking for a while. In that I was scheduling a bunch of tweets through Buffer, but they were all just promoting stuff. So check out our podcast, check out our website, check out this blog post we wrote, check out our Facebook page, check
Yeah.
out our Instagram. And so if you,
Nothing
yeah, there was
engaging.
nothing. It wasn't like a real person. It was just like a bot was running the Twitter, which I guess in some ways, yeah,
Literally.
it was. So I started logging into Twitter, and so because I'm near a computer a lot, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna log on Twitter. I'm just gonna tweet. So at first, I didn't really have much to say, so I was just looking for conversations to join in, replying to people, that type of stuff, jumping on little hashtags and saying random things. I would search like graphic design and find anything graphic design going on and just kind of talk about it. And by doing that, I've been doing it for, let's say it was an experiment, so I did it for 2 weeks. And over the course of that time, prepare to be impressed. I got like almost 30 new followers. And this is not like tweeting 24/7. This is maybe tweeting between like 10 and 2 during the day. Not consistently, but like I'll be paying attention to Twitter for those 5 or 6 hours, and then I'm gonna stop because I don't
Yeah.
log into Twitter after that time. I'm not paying attention to it or whatever. But just off of that little bit of effort, I got 30 followers. I don't know if that's impressive or not. It's probably not to most people. But of course, I'm not going viral or nothing, so I'm not gonna get like a big upshot. But I felt like it was an interesting experiment to see like the difference between.
You actually
Well, I
tried.
actually tried one, and then it was also interesting to see the difference between what happens when you're just using basically botting it up using an application to schedule tweets and stuff like that. Because a scheduled tweet is cool, but um, you got to look on Twitter and see what's happening, and then you can schedule your tweet based on that. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm just scheduling
Yeah.
tweets blindly, like at 3:47, I'm gonna tweet, check out our podcast. Instead, if something's going on Twitter relevant to my podcast, and I tweet that podcast at that time, it's gonna be more effective than just a tweet I scheduled 2 weeks ago with no knowledge of what would be going on Twitter or whatever. So, um, I thought it was interesting. I'm gonna keep trying. Maybe not as much because I don't have that kind of time, but
Yeah. I mean, and that's I don't know. When I first got on Twitter, just as my personal account, I used to try to play that game. I mean, I did. I mean, I have like a decent amount of followers now, I guess. I mean, I call it decent, but other people may not call it decent. But I fluctuate between 1,000 and 900 something. Every once in a while I get to 1,000, and a couple of people unfollow me for whatever reason. Who knows? But I used to try to play that game. But honestly, that game is like kind of
mm,
frustrating, and like I don't always want to like play it, you know? It's like I don't feel like,
Following people back.
having to watch and, I mean, I think there's a appropriate strategy you can find where you don't have to just be on Twitter all the time because I don't like doing
Yeah.
that. I mean, like you said, I mean, I'm a professional lurker. I mean, I look, I tend to get a lot of news from Twitter. So I just look at stuff. Every once in a while I'll retweet something, but I don't really say a whole lot. I'm just not I mean, I know that maybe I'd get my followers up if I said more, but I'm just not one of those people that says something. And when I do say something, nobody retweets it, so I don't really worry about it. So it's not really encouraging for me to say more. So it's just like, nobody saw that. I'm just, I might as well go talk to the ocean or something like
Yeah.
that. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a weird um thing, but I'm sure there's a way to find a balance between that. Like, okay, well, I'll do this, but I don't need to. I just schedule a time where I'm going to tweet some good information, something that's not all promotional. Maybe it's something an article or something like that that's actually relevant, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I've
to
started
something
like
instead of just
sharing articles and stuff like that that I find, and I think people can then see you as a resource for information and not just, you know, what's going on Black Twitter today.
yeah, yeah, or just I mean, because like a lot of these companies, you see they want to get in on the latest hashtag, and they find some kind of a clever way to, well, more oftentimes than not, they don't find a clever way to interact. But every once in a while, somebody, catches
Hmm.
one where it's, people like it. But I mean, it is a popularity contest, and it's a weird,
Like if you jump on
weird
the
game to
hashtags,
play.
it'll get you a little bit of burn, but it's not going to be long term because like I'll retweet somebody who has a clever hashtag or a clever response to a hashtag here and there, but I'm not going to follow them because I really don't care about the rest of the stuff you're talking about. It's just you said something cool, I'll
Yeah,
repeat it, and that's it. So I don't know. We'll
yeah.
see.
And then I'm
Go
not.
ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say I'm not somebody that wants to be on there all the time
Yeah.
either. I'm actually like trying to actively like reduce the amount of times that I reach for my phone in a day. So it's like I don't know. I mean, because I mean I'm somebody that likes to do more than one thing at a time. Um, and sometimes it honestly helps me focus to do more than one thing at a time. But depending on what that other thing is, it may prevent you from doing other things. Like I work and listen to music or podcasts or whatever. That's fine. That doesn't distract me. But there are some things that you can do, like if you're looking at your phone, you're not going to get any work done. Unless it's your job to be tweeting stuff or whatever. But I don't know if your phone is the best way to do that anyway. So I've been, I don't know, I got one of those like fidget spinners. I don't know how I feel about making that public. Well, I did put it on Instagram. Okay. But I was curious about them. I don't know, I just saw people with them. I was like, why is that a thing? And then, I don't know, I saw one in the store. I was like, okay, I don't know. And then I was at a thing this past weekend, and my fiance, she's like, "Hey, you said you wanted one." And she bought one for me or whatever. But since I've had it, I just like, I don't know. I sit there and I'm like, I'll sit there. I can sit down and do something without reaching for my
Hmm.
phone for a while because I'm occupied. So, um, because I'm doing that, because I want to not reach for my phone all the time, it creates a weird dynamic for me where it's like, okay, well, you should be more active in these ways, but also I don't want to be more active. I want to be more. I guess it's one of those things where you need the goal is to be more
Hmm.
effective, not to spend more
Yeah.
time on it. So when you do spend time on it, you actually go in, not like that you're always every once in a while just looking at it. Because I mean, it's just like tweets and tweets about whatever. It's not really that's not really helping you, and you can get easily sucked into just reading
Yeah.
stuff. And so I mean, I don't know, it's a weird balance because I mean, neither one of us are people that are just like talkative. I mean, we have a podcast, which is weird, but yeah, we're not talkative people like that. So
Yeah, I
it's
just
not.
don't have enough. I don't. My thought has been like something will happen or whatever, and I'm like, well, here's an interesting thing I could say about that. But then I'm like, what I have to say is generally, in my perspective, like about events, news or whatever. I'm like, someone else probably already said that by now. I don't need to jump out there and start commenting on whatever Trump did, especially because like that has nothing to do with my brand. No one can like my opinion on that. People probably don't
Yeah,
care. If something like Instagram changes their logo, I definitely need to be talking about that. But
Yeah, that's
Like
relevant.
R.
Yeah.
Kelly molesting more little girls. I don't know. So what? I mean, I care, but I
Well,
don't
not.
care. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't. My brand doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
care. If I have, I personally care a little bit.
Well, the brand cares, but you don't actually have anything to add to
Right.
the conversation.
Yeah, especially when like I log on to Twitter and it's been going on for hours already. So I
Yeah,
have
everybody has
nothing
said
new to add.
everything.
So it's just like I might
Yeah.
go in and find somebody who's tweeting about it that has something interesting to say and retweet them. But a lot of times it's like, all right, no, I don't care. So yeah, I think it's really like a time suck, and so you have to like consciously say, all right, I have something to say. Let me go in and say it, and then let me get off instead of
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on Twitter because then an hour later you know what's going on Twitter, but you haven't accomplished anything. So
Yeah, exactly. You're just
I was gonna ask you about Instagram.
um well, I mean, I'm more active on Instagram probably just because I like looking at pictures and I get, you know, I find inspiration from looking at things, whatever, for paintings I'm doing and stuff like that. And that that is honestly more of a temptation to be on all the time for me. But I'm guessing you're asking about me actually getting our numbers up. Um, One thing that we did recently, I mean, and I think it may help our podcast or whatever, but is like using the video function to post snippets of our podcast so that people can hear a little bit of it and then maybe they'll be prompted to go
Mm,
listen. Um, which I thought was a cool way to integrate those two things. Because I like to try to think of ways that to use new technologies that are coming out in a most effective way to make things easy for people. Our numbers are higher, I know that much. I mean, a part of it, I think it's one of the same things we were saying with Twitter that we need to post more things that are not just
mm,
promotional. Even, but Instagram's weird like that because it's like if you're not posting something um, it's I mean it's a platform that's all about self
yeah,
promotion. That's literally what it is. It's self promotion. So it's like when you're posting other things, I mean, you can post quotes and stuff like that. I know we do that sometimes, but it's not like you're sharing an article. It's not that kind of a thing. It's like literally if you're not sharing your stuff, then like what are you sharing? I mean, you can post like inspirations and stuff like that. There are other things the way you can do that. You just have to find a clever way to use
yeah.
what's there because it's not like you can share a link to something or you're retweeting. I mean, you can reshare things, but then it gets all pixelated and horrible.
I don't
And I
like
don't
the.
know. I mean,
I
there's a lot of
follow a
people
few
out there.
people that just repost stuff all the time, and I don't know. I'm
Oh,
like,
I
let me.
hate that. I don't want to see your
But there's
meme.
like
I
they're
don't.
like curators or whatever you want to call it. Basically, they find the funny stuff and repost it, and that's like okay, that's interesting for a while, but I wouldn't want to do that on our account. But I think I was gonna say like I think some of our growth in numbers, which has not been super significant. I don't remember what we were. We'd have to listen to that episode again. But we're like 170, 160 something now, and I think part of that
Mm.
has been just consistency because when I post, like even on my personal account, I said I'm going to post something every day this week, and if I'm consistent and post every day, um, I'll get more followers, but also I'll get a whole lot more likes. Not like 15,000 or nothing like that, but I get more followers and more likes by just being consistent. Um, and I think sometimes it's difficult to do that. Well, I guess it's not difficult. I just don't do it. Let me just say that I just don't do it because you want to. Sometimes you want to kind of stay on message and stuff like that. So you're like, well, I had this cool picture of a sunset, but I'm not going to share that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to find a way to balance. Like, is this relevant to my
Yeah,
brand? I mean, and depending on what you're doing, I mean, because honestly, for some people, it's like all self promotion, and I know for my personal account, I'm I I'm conflicted with the fact that it's probably it may be confusing for
Hmm.
people based on the fact that I do so many different things. So some people like, okay, they're an artist. That's all they post is their art. It's a consistent brand. Or they're a photographer. That's all they post. Or they're a Instagram model. That's all they post is like,
Waist waist
butt
trainers and
shots.
fitness tee.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 50. Yeah, that's what they do. But somebody like me, I do so many different things. When you look at my Instagram, if you don't know me, you may be like, wait, what?
Yeah, but I
you
so
know?
I think that can be a negative. It can be a positive. Like if I came here for fitness tea or whatever, then that's what I want to see. If I came here for art, that's what I want to see. But for people that might not be interested in art, if I throw in a random picture of a sunset or a car or whatever in all the hashtags, then me as a car person or whatever, I might stumble upon your account and then see your art too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Mm.
just another way in. But I don't know. We'll have to try some of these things and see what happens. But that's
Yeah,
go ahead.
what no to say one thought I just had was one thing about Instagram is it's a it's all about self promotion and it's more personal, I think, in a way than maybe not Facebook. Facebook's super personal, but that I don't know, that's different. But um it's super personal. So people a lot of times they buy
Hmm.
into a person. And I think that's why I hate people that post memes all the time. Because it's like I don't know who you are. Because that's honestly why you follow somebody. You're interested in what they're doing. Like I follow like some people because it's like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're up to, or what are they doing here? And so that's why you know I'm interested in. So I mean, I don't know. You got to find a balance between giving yourself your company or
Hmm.
yourself a face and like also being able to promote
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
So
I agree. Because yeah, there's a lot of accounts and you don't know anything about the person, which can be fine in
yeah,
some cases, depending on the content. 'Cause if you're just to me, I feel like
if you're in the
yeah,
shade
I
room,
don't
it's
care.
fine. That's what you. Yeah, but yeah,
All right, so besides our social media numbers, that's our social media recap for July 2017. Um, we're gonna keep trying stuff and see what happens. The goal here is obviously not to
yeah.
be, the most popular people on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, but we just want to explore. Yeah,
Be the
be
most
effective
effective.
with the little bit that we are willing to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a video we watched, and you wanted to talk about it. So go right ahead.
It was a video. What was it? Channel Future or something like that. I forgot the channel it was, but there's a guy on there. He was talking to another designer. I mean, obviously he had like a design firm and he'd been around for a while and everything, a lot of experience. And I guess she didn't have as much, but I'm not super familiar with the channel. Um, but he was talking about how to charge more for your logo. And one of the main where they started was the fact that I guess in a video in the past he had talked about charging like $18,000 for a logo, and that bothered her. So that's where they started out, and it was an interesting. It was interesting to watch. I guess how he, in a way, justified it or explained to her what you needed to do to raise your price, to charge more, and to create more value, and to make yourself appear, you know, I'm not going to say more than that you are, but at least appear, get paid what you're worth, you know, how to present yourself in a way that people see you as somebody that's an authority on a topic or a, professional or, so that people don't, people pay you more and they're not just standing over your shoulder, like trying to critique everything because they don't think you actually know what you're doing. So, um, and I mean, after watching it, I still kind of conflicted about it. I mean, really feel like there was some takeaways. There were things like, make sure, you have quality case studies. You talk about like what happened after you did the brand. I mean, you did the branding for them. Talk about what all you offer. And um, one of the main takeaways from it was, for me, was being better at telling the story because people buy into they make sometimes it's like an
Hmm.
emotional connection. So you got to find a balance between I'm good at this, but there's also an emotional connection where okay, this is what I did. I'm passionate about this. So it's not just a list of this is what I do. I do this, I do this, I do this, do that. And that's something honestly I mean maybe we can talk about it in another podcast, but something I was thinking about like when you go on a job interview because it's easy to is when you do a lot of things, it's easy to just, you know, give somebody a laundry list of everything you do, but they
Hmm.
still don't know who you are. So, I don't know. What did you think
So I
about the
thought
video?
it was good information. So I think, well, most people definitely want to be able to make more money for what they do, so that you feel more fulfilled by making more money. I guess some people do. So I thought the advice they gave in terms of just most of what he said was basically it's not about the logo. It's about the stuff you put around the logo that allows you to charge more. The presentation, your presentation of yourself, your presentation of your past work, and that type of stuff is what allows you to charge more. Um, so I completely agree with that because there's been times when I have actually, written up creative briefs and all that type of stuff and sent them to people along with logos and stuff like that. And they it was easier because in the past, I know we've had a couple episodes where we talked about you send a client multiple logos and they select the one you don't want them to select. And so in the times when I have taken the time out to write up creative briefs and present everything properly, then it's easier for me to pitch them in the right direction. Um, but on the
Yeah,
other hand, I think it's they're connected. So like if I'm only charging you, you know, several $100s for a logo, and I put it together, it's not worth my time in a lot of cases to write up a creative brief or to come and present the logo to you in person, in a nice presentation or whatever, and really talk you through why I chose the logo, why I chose the colors, all that type of stuff. It's not worth it. You only pay me a couple $100s. My time is worth more than that. I have other things to move on to, so I can't do that. And so as a result, you are gonna just look at this blurry JPEG I sent you. You're gonna pick the one that you think looks good because you don't have any guidance from a professional like me to tell you what to do. And then
yeah,
you're gonna move forward. And then I might be frustrated because you picked a logo I didn't like. I can't use it in my portfolio. I can't write a case study on this job because of that. And so it's kind of a
yeah,
self-enforcing thing. And then like the next person that comes along, they're going to go basically, they might not do exactly the same thing, but it's going to be a similar process in terms of you didn't give them all the guidance and the help that you could have to help them get to the best logo for them. It was just a personal preference thing when the professional was sitting right there, but just didn't, I it wasn't worth my time to help you. And so that's
yeah.
where I think charging more, not necessarily, not saying that you should charge $18,000 for a logo, but charging more can benefit both people, but you've got to sell that. And that's something that they talked about in the video as
Yeah.
well. It's like if you don't see, so yeah, if I'm just an Adobe operator, person comes to me, says make this, I make it, I give it back to them, then no, $18,000 is way too much. But if I'm a
Yeah.
creative strategist or whatever kind of term you want to use, and I can do more than just regurgitate what you gave me. I can give you guidance and suggestions, and I can do market research and all that other add-ons. Then, yeah, it might be worth it.
Probably not, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
Probably
like,
not that
so
much, but yeah.
I would say, like, for me, I don't have the resources to do all the the market research and
Yeah.
focus groups and all the other crap. No, I don't have the resources to do that. If you gave me $18,000, I could probably find a way to get a lot of that done. But um, for now, I personally am not going to charge you $18,000 to do a logo. But for the services that I do provide, I should be charging more.
Yeah. I mean, I had a couple of thoughts about that. different aspects of it. One thing I would say, because it's in conjunction with something else I was listening to yesterday. Like you said, I mean, sometimes you're tempted when somebody does not have the larger budget, you're tempted to not do as much work,
Hmm.
um, or do your best work. Which I mean, in this case, we're talking about like writing a design brief. That isn't going to take you that much more time to do. It can be a couple of sentences just explaining why you went this direction. It doesn't take that much time, but what happens is you get in the habit of doing less.
Right.
And also, you don't know, you're making a logo for somebody. You don't know who that logo is going to be in front of, and you want this person to recommend you to other people that may have more of a budget.
Hmm.
So if you're in the habit of doing less, doing the minimum, and don't you like you said, you can't use this for anything because the story isn't there. You didn't
Hmm.
do anything. You just made, some marks on paper and that's it. You didn't really do much more than that for them. So why would they recommend you? They may recommend you to somebody else who's like, yeah, I just need a logo real quick. And so you're just going to get more you know, basic work like that, you know. And I mean, who knows? Maybe their company blows up or whatever, but if they're not like super like pumped about the experience that they had with you designing their logo and they didn't feel like they're a part of it and they just feel like you just like here, you know, you want a Big Mac, you want it with cheese, no pickles, okay, here, if that's all the service that you get, they're not as inclined to come back to you. I mean, they might just because you're cheap, but they're not gonna like they may not recommend you.
Right.
They're not
Yeah,
there's no like emotional connection.
that's definitely the experience I've had in the past. Was I've had clients that were very, very loyal to me, but it was just because I had quick turnaround and I was inexpensive. Um,
Yeah.
and so they had a plethora of bad ideas, and I was helping
You turned
support.
them around.
Yeah, I turned them around. But the people who I've actually helped be successful, they come back. Some of them come back too, but I think there is a different motivation. I think that's what's important is you want people to come back because they're happy and they had got results, not because
You're cheap.
you're the cheapest person on the block.
Yeah. 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 Because that's not what you want to be known for. That's not what you paid all them. That's not what that's not what Martin died for. Oh, this is
Rosa
not what
didn't sit in the back of the bus for that.
this is not what Sally Mae fought for. This
Sally
is.
Mae. What? This is not what I pay Sally
Think
Mae
about your
for.
student loans when you're doing basic work. Is basically what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
that's
they.
how I look at it too. Is like you're paying for my experience and you're paying for my education. I
Yeah.
know a whole lot of stuff you don't know. I might
Yeah.
not tell you any of that stuff, or I might not tell you a lot of that stuff, but
Yeah.
I know a lot, so
Yeah.
I need to
I
share
mean,
it.
and also, yeah. Like I said before, like you need to form good habits and you need to sharpen your skills. And sometimes you got to sharpen that on like basic projects that may not pay that much. There's things you can do that do not take you that long.
Hmm.
Writing a simple design brief is not going to take you that long. Giving them multiple, showing them what it looks like in the different, colors and telling them why that's not going to take you that long. And that some of that can be a template, that
Hmm.
you give to everyone. It's not going to take you that long. You can present it in a different way. Make a template that you present things to people in that looks pro. You can
Hmm.
do that instead of just sending them something on a white background with nothing else.
Yeah.
Um, I'm talking to myself right now. There's
You're
things that you
definitely
could do.
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I'm preaching to the preacher. Um,
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is stuff that I just sometimes it's just like I just don't feel like doing it or whatever, but it's totally worth it. And I
yeah,
think the other part that I liked about the video is he said the first thing you need to do is double your price, and I was like, what?
yeah,
um, but yeah, that's something I would like to do too. Is just off the bat double
yeah.
or hit
You're
him with the
gonna.
double range because that's what he said. He doubled it, but he hit him with double range. He was like it's gonna be 5 to 10, and so they
Yeah,
know the range is somewhere higher than it
yeah,
was.
yeah,
So then they have to pick and choose like okay well what do I want from this process because
yeah,
that's the other thing that I thought was powerful as well was the fact that he was like well you just got to turn some people down because you are still going to get approached by the people that all they want is a reproduction of some bad idea, or they want a Photoshop operator. They don't want a designer.
Yeah. 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 I mean, and you don't. I mean, when you're first starting out or you're trying to build your portfolio up and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, you're not going to be able to. You need, you may need to take some of the more low hanging fruit, but build up some strong stories and some good habits from that.
Hmm.
Because sometimes, yeah, I mean, a lot of us, me and you, we've been doing this for a while, but there are definitely bad habits that we have maintained because for one reason or another, sometimes it's time or just, you're not even thinking about it, but then you look up one day and it's like, why am I not further along?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like, oh wait, because I'm doing basic work, even though I have the skill and the experience and everything, but I'm not
but
putting that forth so nobody can see it.
you're reinforcing the problem.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
So,
This conversation makes me feel like I need to go do something constructive.
well, I mean, yeah, I watched it, and I don't know, honestly, while I was watching it, I started updating case studies on our website just
Hmm.
because I was like, that's right. I mean, we have volume on there, but
If
you
you
could
read
you
it,
could
you
do
would.
with less, just make it good.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because some of my favorite logos, I may like the logo, but there's no story there. There's
Hmm.
nothing, either the company doesn't exist anymore for whatever reason or something. There's no, yeah, because that happens. That's an unfortunate thing that happens. But some of those, it literally was like somebody was like, "Hey, can you make this logo?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I make the logo. It's a good logo. I like it, but I don't know what happened to the company. I don't know much else about where they are right now. There wasn't a whole lot to it. I just had a good idea,
Hmm.
which is fine. But those ideas come from somewhere, and I probably examine where that idea came from and put that down on paper so that other people can see it. Because especially when you've been doing it for a while, your thought process can be so quick that you don't even realize what you're thinking.
Hmm.
Because we probably talked about it before. I mean, I design things in my head all the time. I mean, I remember in college, like they always wanted to, it's like here, present your thumbnails. I did my thumbnails after I did my project.
Yeah, yeah. I don't work in the traditional
Yeah,
sketch some things out, then sketch some more things out, then do it in Photoshop
yeah.
or whatever.
But people want to see that because they think that's the traditional way. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's something I think you should present. I mean, sometimes I do sketch things or whatever out, but I think sometimes you need to present that to people because that's the way they like to see things. Because otherwise, it's the classic show your work kind of thing,
Yeah,
you know.
I figured
So
out
even
the
if you
answer,
can
but
do
I
it,
don't know how.
yeah, I mean, yeah, your brain knows how to do it, but nobody else believes that you can do it,
Yeah.
because you didn't show your work. So I mean, that's a, you know, that's something there. I did have
So
another thought about that.
go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Ladies first.
Okay.
No, what I was gonna say was like you mentioned a lot of the designs you've done are for companies that in some cases don't exist anymore, and that made me think like I wonder if I had taken the time to maybe spend some more time with customers, spend some more time doing the I guess I would call them peripheral services around a logo design. Yeah,
Consulting.
consulting basically with them. Would the company still be around? Or maybe there's two outcomes. Either I did something, I talked to them, I guided them in the right direction, the company's still around, or I talked them out of the whole thing. Not necessarily the whole logo or the whole company, but like I was like, maybe you shouldn't do this because of XYZ. And here, keep your money, give me a consulting fee for the time I spent, and then we're good. And I think in some cases that doing that might have been more helpful than just giving them a logo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, because yeah, I mean, it's a quick, like here, take
Here's
that,
what you asked for, but I'm not going to give you
Yeah,
any intelligent, useful guidance.
yeah. I mean, and I don't know. You may give them this amazing logo, and they get all pumped, and it's a garbage product or whatever. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, some of that's on them definitely, and when you're busy, you got other people to move on to. That can happen, but like, I guess if you charge more, then you can afford to do that for people,
yeah. That's what I said.
which
It's like
may,
it's all interconnected in terms of I can't do a good job for you because I'm not charging you enough. If I charge you more, I can do a better job for you. But it's just it's sometimes it's I mean maybe it's just because I've been doing it so long, but sometimes it's just kind of it's a self perpetuating type of situation where you're like I don't want to charge more, but you need to charge more not just for your pocket, but for the benefit of the client. And then,
Yeah.
with the amount of time we've been doing this, we're not, I'm not a business expert. I do have an MBA, but I'm not like a retail expert or anything like that. But I have a pretty good idea what's going to work and what's not going to work as well. So that expertise is also worth something, and so I need to charge for that as well, so that excuse me, so that I
Yeah.
can do a better job for you. Because if I'm not charging you, I can't do a good
Yeah.
job.
And some of those things, just like those are skills that you could pick up in some ways. You could take some classes. You can, you may not be a professional on it, but you can learn about some of these things without spending a lot of time, just so that you can add on to your benefit, the benefit that you
Mm-hmm.
bring. Um, the only other thought on that I would say is I was talking to my uncle about this, and it was something funny. He said that my granddad told him. I probably mess up the quote, but as far as pricing, he was saying. Um, a sheep will always need shearing, but you can only skin a sheep once.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I thought was really interesting because it's like you have to find a balance. Well, I mean, don't see something that's like, oh, somebody's charging $18,000 for a logo. It's like, let me go to the max. Like, I mean, because you may get this client once, but if they don't see the value in what you did, even if what you did was valuable and you did all of these things that you were supposed to do, you got a good story, give them design briefs and all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, some of that is on their company, and their company, you can't guarantee results just because you made a really good design,
Mm-hmm.
So you want to, make sure your prices are in a rate where it's like, okay, well, they'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to take everything out of the deal the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because otherwise it's like, all right, well, okay, well, that was good that time, but I can't afford you the next time, and everybody I meet, I'm going to be like, hey, they charge a lot, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, this is cool and everything, but and especially if it's a startup business. I mean, because a lot of people, when you're designing a logo, you're designing for somebody
Mm-hmm.
new. A lot of new people ain't got money like that, so
Well, I think you gotta, like you said, it's got to be a balance between charging them enough so that you can do a good job, and not charging them so much that they won't want to do work with you anymore. And then you've also got to balance that with,
people that are serious.
yeah, I mean, people that can actually afford to pay you to do that type of work. And then, like for instance, if I'm charging someone 20, $30,000 for a logo, okay, that's great. I can do a bunch of work for them. But now I'm kind of got to be somewhat fully dedicated to them for some period of time. So I don't have as much time to spend on Twitter trying to get my numbers up, or on Instagram, or
Yeah,
finding new business, or updating my own website, which is fine if that's what I want to do. But if I'm trying to, like, just like you do paintings, you do web design, you do video stuff, you do a lot of other stuff. We do a podcast, so I need to be able to spend my time on these other things. And so if I'm charging someone that much, I'm kind of dedicating a certain amount of my time to them. But if I charge a little less, I can still do a good job, but then I also get back some of my time, because that's all it is. They're paying for your time.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, and that's, I mean, that, I don't know. We need to probably have another episode about that, about jobs and stuff like that. But um, just finding that balance in
Mm-hmm.
life. I mean, because you can make a lot of money but have no time,
Yep. I
and time is the most
I've
valuable, thing that
definitely
you.
been in a situation where I was making, I wouldn't say a lot of money, but I was making decent money, but I just didn't even have the time to spend the money I was making. I mean,
Yeah,
even with the internet making it easy to spend money, it was like, I forgot to buy the things I needed, or just random things I wanted. I just didn't have the time to buy them because I was just like busy, busy,
yeah,
busy. So,
yeah. We need to make them. We'll have an episode about that.
yeah, we have a
But
lot of episodes we need to do.
yeah,
So, I think overall, well, the video, it's called "How to Charge More for a Logo," deep dive episode 4. It's on a channel called The Future with no E. It's not the other Future, no purple sprite or anything like that. Um, the designer in the video, his name is Chris Doe. We'll have a link in the show notes if you want to watch it. I think if you're a designer and you're trying to get your money up, definitely watch it. definitely informative, and he's got a lot of other videos on other topics that are pretty good. So definitely check that out.
Yep, I learned a lot. And I guess we'll be back next
Yep.
time.
If you learned something, definitely share this episode with others. Um, we've gotten a lot of pretty good feedback on a couple of our last episodes when we had photographer Gianna Snell on, and when we had Steve Norman on talking about accessibility and things like that.
Accessibility.
So if you missed those episodes, definitely check them out. Lots of good information, lots of jokes, some of which are funny. Um, and also check out the rest of the archives. There's other good episodes back there. If you really want to laugh, listen to the one about social media and how bad our social media numbers are and used to be. Yeah,
Still are.
and they're still pretty bad, but it's okay. Like I don't.
Go give us a
Yeah, go
like.
like us on social media at Alienmuffin. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
I mean, we'd like some reviews
on
also.
the podcast.
Yes, like reviews on, iTunes, Google Play, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I don't know if we have any of those. So
I have not even looked.
if you feel like leaving a review or a comment,
Yeah, leave a comment on SoundCloud if you're listening and you'd like us to know. Leave a comment about something.
let us know
Yep.
you're listening.
All right. Well,
Right.
thanks for tuning in, everyone. Tune in again in a few weeks for another episode. And we're out.